quick. So we're looking at an exam breakdown here for New Hampshire property and casualty. You have 150 questions. That's 2.5 hours, which is basically a minute per question. Now, this is where it comes very important to understand that you have to know the material, not just study practice questions. So for many people, as you begin to study or you get hired by someone, the advice that they will give you is take the practice test over and over again. And once you've passed them with an 80, 10 times, you'll be ready to take the state exam. And this is the most worst, frustrating advice that people give other people. And in fact, there was a company that I was sent out to go teach, and I would butt heads with the director because I said, you are giving your people bad advice and you need to stop it. And they're like, you're a person we pay, get out of here. And I'm like, no, I am a teacher and I want to teach people correctly. So I will fight. I fight people on this. And when people give this advice in my group, I tell them, stop it, because it is so bad. Studying practice questions is not the way to pass the exam. It does work for like 5% of the people who take the exam. I'm not saying it doesn't work. There are people who swear by it, but it is so few and so far between. It doesn't work for the majority of people. The reason being is that the practice questions in your course, whatever course you have, even Excel, which I love a lot for their practice exams, and we have had feedback that people say the questions in their Excel were very much like the state exam. The thing is there's no guarantee that that's going to happen, because when you sit down to take the test, there's like a cloud of a bunch of questions potentially, and just 150 drop down, right? So there could be like 1,000 questions up there and 150 drop down. There are numerous people that will tell you, I took the test on Monday and I failed it. I took the test on Wednesday, all new questions. None of them were the same as Monday. Like, it is possible that every test you take is different. So when you study practice questions, one, you're studying the way that the company wrote it, the pre-licensing company wrote it, using their words and their language with their ABCD, which may not be what you see on the state exam. So seeing that you only have 1 minute per question, it becomes very crucial that you actually know and understand the material, not that you simply studied practice questions, okay? So my focus always when I teach and anytime I talk about this is know the material, understand the material. Now, you don't need to know everything, which is awesome. You only need to know 70%. 70% of 150 is 105. Meaning that when you sit down to take your test, you can get 45 questions wrong and still pass. And a 70 is a 70. Passing is passing. A 70 is 100, we like to say. Like, there's no reason to get an 80. There's no reason to get a 90. You don't look better. It doesn't give you better job opportunities. A pass is a pass is a pass is a pass. So whether you walk out of there with a 70 or a 95, it's a pass. You have just as much opportunity to get a job as anyone else. It doesn't change, there's no need to be the overachiever. You don't need to be an overachiever. So what I like to do is I like to focus in on where are the majority of questions coming from and what content is the easiest to study, memorize, and understand, okay? So when we're looking here at New Hampshire, and this is a prometric breakdown, so anybody who has an exam that looks like this with the chapters general insurance, P&C basics, auto, dwelling, home, commercial, when they break it out like this, it is a prometric exam, and anything that I'm saying right now works for you as well, but your numbers may be slightly different and you can always look up your state specific numbers. So when we're looking at these, so we can see these percentages right here are basically saying how many questions will be on general insurance, and 11% of the questions out of the 150 will be general insurance. And you can even do the math here. Like, if you wanted to do the math to know exactly how many questions that is, you would do 150 times 0.11. You convert the percentage into a decimal in front, and then you hit equal. So 16 questions out of the 150 will be on general, okay? Now, general is relatively easy to learn, understand, and memorize. It's mostly definitions. And whether you have one of my paid for class series or not, on my YouTube channel, I have I have multiple videos on general insurance, but I have 2 videos. One is general insurance conversational, where I just explain the topics to you. And then the other one is general insurance memorization, where I repeat the definition over again a few times so that you can sink in. So everyone can get a lot of points on general just from my YouTube channel alone. And again, that's mostly definitions. So you want to try and get all 16 questions correct here, all 11%. Property and casualty basics, this is going to be 14% of your exam. So it'll be, if 11 is 16 questions, it'll probably be closer to like, 20 or something. I'm not going to do the math for every single one, but a little bit more. Now, PNC basics is also a lot of definitions. And I cover PNC basics a lot in all of my class series. So if you have bronze, silver, or gold being the most extensive, I cover this topic a lot. This includes stuff like understanding actual cash value, replacement cost, also parts of the contract. What are the elements of a legal contract, agreement, competent parties, consideration, stuff like that. Usually co-insurance is in the PNC basics chapter, as well as homeowners. So you want to try and get as many points as you can here. Now, I will say there must be a struggle somewhere for students, because even when they go through my stuff, they still get a lower score in PNC basics. So you want to try and get, and maybe it's the way they're wording the questions, I don't know, but you want to try and get as many as you can from this chapter. And this tends to be one of the chapters that I will tell people to focus in on, because most people are only getting about half the points here when I study score sheets. So I don't think people are focusing enough on that category. So anything titled PNC basics or policy provision and contract law, which I have multiple videos on, that comes from that chapter, and that's 14%. So as of this point, you've got what, 25% of the exam is just in 2 chapters that are mostly definitions. So that's awesome. Then you have auto insurance, which is 14%. Now, the only thing about auto insurance here is it's going to include personal auto and commercial auto. Now, personal auto is going to be really easy to get. Most people already understand personal auto because everyone pretty much has to have a personal auto policy. But this chapter, part of this 14% is going to include commercial. Now, commercial has a lot of the same information as personal. So just by studying personal, you're already going to have some questions correct on commercial. But when it comes to commercial, it can be really difficult to grab a lot of points in commercial, because commercial is like hundreds of pages worth of study. Like if you were to compare, auto insurance to commercial auto, it's like, it can be a lot more pages. Well, maybe not so much commercial auto, but commercial, this 10% down here is 100 pages worth of reading. So difficult to try and study 100 pages for 10%. When you think about general is like maybe 15 pages. It is a lot easier to get 11% on 15 pages than it is to try to get 10% across 100 pages worth of study. So commercial, I usually try to recommend that commercial be the 30% you get wrong. So you only need a 70 to pass. Let commercial be the 30% you get wrong, because it's too much to have to study. Like PNC basics in general, between this 25%, you're looking at about 25 pages. It's a lot easier to get points there than somewhere else. So with auto, focus mostly on personal. And then my class series does include some commercial auto stuff. It doesn't go deep into it because, again, there's so much stuff that they could potentially ask you from that it's hard to narrow down exactly what you need to know. But again, you can get 30% wrong. So if you get only half the points here, you're still in a good spot. Now, dwelling policy is only 4%, but when you learn dwelling, you're learning homeowners at the same time. Dwelling and homeowners really go together. And My classes are very extensive on both dwelling and homeowners to help lock in that information. Additionally, dwelling and homeowners are property policies. And when you learn CPP and BOP, those are also property policies. So by learning dwelling and homeowners really well, you're actually getting points in commercial and business that you don't have to work hard for. Studying dwelling and homeowners is, again, like 40 pages, where commercial and BOP, you're looking at hundreds of pages. It's a lot easier to get these points than it is to get these points. And if you study dwelling and homeowners, you're automatically going to get some points here correct. And homeowners and dwelling are probably one of my favorite things to teach. And I definitely have a lot of videos on those, especially in the gold course. And now even in platinum, I released some exclusive classes that are in platinum. They will eventually replace the gold course as I create more of them. But that's kind of down the line. Don't expect that anytime soon. But they're only right now available in platinum. And I would say that was some of the best ways I've ever taught dwelling and homeowners. I really love the way that I made those lessons. And I was experimenting in making them in whole new ways than I ever did before. And they came out wonderful. But anyway, so you're going to do really well basically in all of these. So as of right now, let's see, you're at 11 plus 14 plus 14 plus 4 plus 12. You're at 55% between these chapters. Then you have commercial and BOP. You're probably only going to get half the points correct here. Like I said, it can be really hard to study 100 pages worth of material for 10% of the questions. That's basically 15 questions out of 100 pages. It's really difficult to lock down points here. So you're probably going to get about half in commercial. So let's say 5%, and then half in BOP, let's say 4%. You're at 64% right now between these chapters. Workers' compensation, we're about to cover that right now. So you try, since we're doing that, this is one of the chapters I normally say, don't worry about. But since we're here and we're learning it, you are going to be able to capture some points there. So that's going to bring you 7%. Now we're at 71%. Other coverages and options. This is a chapter that includes a lot of random stuff. Flood insurance, workers' comp is usually in there. It depends on the state of what's in other. It might be like aircraft coverage, crop coverage, assigned risk plans, but flood is, and umbrella is usually in that chapter. So I would focus primarily on umbrella and flood out of that chapter. So let's say you get about half of that right. So that's about 3%. You're now at 74%. And then insurance regulations. And this one is state law. And all of my class series have a state law class where the main thing is understanding the job of the director, the commissioner. He can go by either name. It depends on the state. Sometimes he's called the superintendent. This is the Department of Insurance. What is the job of the Department of Insurance? What they're out there to protect the public from bad insurance companies. This is going to cover your rules for licensing. How long is your license good for? How many continuing education hours do you need? It's going to go over fees and fines. It's going to go over unfair trade practices like misrepresentation, twisting, coercion, rebating. And again, these are all things that I'll cover in my state regulations class, no matter what series you get. And you can grab a lot of points there, but this could be a tricky chapter to get a ton of points in because there's a lot of fees and fines and never quite know what they're going to ask you. So let's say you even get like half of that. So half of that puts you at 81. So if you focus and study like I just recommended, you're looking at an 81 score and you only need 70, which gives you wiggle room to get questions wrong in these chapters, because again, you only need 70. So again, my focus is to focus on the things that are easier to learn, simpler to learn, grab as many points as you can in the most tested chapters, and then don't worry about the complex, hard chapters. And all of my class series, bronze, silver, or gold, will focus on the most tested topics. Bronze is about 8 hours worth of study. It's more like a basic review. Silver is going to be about 14 hours worth of video, a little bit more in depth. I would say, like, if you're already taking the exam, like if you're brand new, go for gold all the time. If you've already studied and you're almost passing and you're like a couple points away, that's who I'd recommend bronze for. Or if that's all you can afford, because bronze is the cheapest at 27. Then you have silver at 14 hours, goes a little bit more deeper into the materials, a little bit longer explanations of things. And then you have gold at, now it's close to 30 hours of video because I keep adding videos in there. And gold also has student notes that go right along with the videos, and it has some practice questions. And then, like I said, I also have platinum, which includes everything. And also when you get gold, you get bronze and silver too. So with gold, not only do you have almost 30 hours specific to gold, you also have access to the bronze and the silver. And then platinum gives you access to everything and me. So you get to talk to me as you're studying, you get to ask me questions with direct answers. And then you also get free tickets. So any classes that I'm hosting, you get to attend free. And I just rolled out all of my new videos that I'm creating that no one has really seen yet. I did them over Christmas. I did a boot camp and people who attended live got to see it, but there was no recordings made available to anybody. So they're very exclusive content, not available on YouTube anywhere. And I just put them inside of platinum, and that is almost that's close to 30 hours too of brand new video. So any questions about studying New Hampshire, and does all of that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much. It kind of gave me a roadmap to where to look at. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, perfect. Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and stop the video for that. If I can find it.